Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good day everyone, especially to you ma'am. I am SAMIA AMPUAN, and I am the first reporter from Group 8. And for today, I will be discussing about principles and strategies of teaching and designing IEP for learners with difficulty with self-care. So IEP means individualized education programs. So without further ado, let us dive in with our discussion, where we have here the importance of psychological assessment, where comprehensive psychological assessment is conducted before creating an IEP, and it identifies learners' strengths and challenges. Yes. And then it helps determine appropriate accommodations and educational approaches. So let us know that every learner is unique. So this assessment, the psychological assessment, provide important information about the learner's abilities and needs, which allows the teachers to design suitable goals and support strategies for the learners. The next one that we have here is the characteristics of learners with intellectual disabilities. So learners with intellectual disabilities may, so if you have any characteristics this based on what has mentioned here, then you may have a intellectual disabilities, which is have difficulty remembering information, and then learn more slowly, and then need repeated practice, and lastly the show low motivation to learn. So because of these challenges, instruction should be simplified and repeated often, and supported with hands-on activities that make learning easier and more meaningful. So the next one that we have here is the effective teaching principles, where teachers should break goals into smaller steps. Yes, in order for the teaching to be effective, then the teacher should break goals into smaller steps, then use multiple senses, then provide hands-on learning experiences. Yes, I believe for the learning to be effective, or for the teaching to be effective, then the teacher must provide or should provide a hands-on learning that is based on real life situation, and then allow extra time for practice and repetition. Yes, allow your students to digest uh what what have they learned, and then allow them to collaborate with their classmates, and of course lastly collaborate with parents and professionals. Yes, seek for help with the parents and the professionals. And then next we have here is the functional academics. So functional academics focused on reading, writing, and then subjects like mathematics, and then science, and then skills are selected based on their usefulness in daily life. Yes, so instead of teaching only academic content, teachers prioritize skills that help learners become independent at home, school, and in the community. And then next that we have here is the determining functional skills. So questions teachers should ask is these three. Will this skill help the learner become more independent? Will failure to learn it cause problems? And then will I need it when I'm 21? In order to determine the functional skills, that is the question that the teachers should ask. These questions help teachers decide which skills are most important for the learner's future success and independence. And then the next one that we have here is the educational approach 1 active student response, or the ASR. So ASR promotes active learner participation. Yes, so the benefits that we can get here is it can engage all learners and then provide immediate feedback, since the learners or the students are actively responding, and then help assess understanding, of course, and then allows teachers to adjust instruction, since the teachers get feedback. So they can immediately adjust their instruction or their strategies. So the ASR ensures every learner participates instead of only a few students answering questions. And then we have here the 6 steps of active students response, which is um, the six steps of active student response. Is that number 1, teachers ask a question. Number 2, learners think about the answer. And then number 3, all learners respond simultaneously. Teachers reviewers responses. Number 4, and then teachers gives feedback. And then lastly, teachers adjust instruction if needed. Now, in order for that steps to be successful, then or yes, we have here the example of ASR. Yes, in order for your students to be actively responding, then you can use this ASR examples, which is we have here the ABCD cards, the true or false cards, like or dislike cards, and then the thumbs up, thumbs down cards, which is, or you can just ask them to thumbs up if they agree or yes, and then thumbs down if they don't agree or no. And then actually this steps, or the 6 steps of active students response, is that it encourage active engagement and allow teachers to quickly identify misunderstandings. Yes, since um, the learners think about their answer and then they will respond simultaneously, then the teacher can also gives feedback, and through that um, the teachers can immediately identify the misunderstanding, or what are the missed lessons of the learners. And then the next one that we have here is the educational approach to the task analysis. We're breaking complex skills into smaller and manageable steps. For example, is hand washing, brushing teeth, and then setting the table. So it is because students often struggle with complex activities, so breaking tasks into smaller parts makes learning easier and less overwhelming. And then we have here the at least 6 steps um, for that educational approach to, or on the task analysis, which is step 1, identify the target skill. Yes, choose a skill listed in the IEP, like brushing teeth, washing hands, or dressing independently. So step 1, the target skill should be meaningful and important for the learner's daily life. Yes. And then the step 2, identify prerequisite skills. Determine skills needed before learning the target skill. For example, is for brushing teeth, then recognize toothbrush and toothpaste, and then hold a toothbrush properly. And the target skill should be meaningful and or prerequisite skills ensure the learners is ready to learn the larger task successfully. And then the step 3 that we have here is um, break the skill into components. Yes, for example is brushing teeth. Then you should teach them, or the teacher should teach the learner to pick on water, pick up toothpaste, then open toothpaste, and then put toothpaste on brush. And then here each step is taught individually until the learner can complete the entire sequence. Yes. And then we have here the hand washing task analysis example. Yes, you can teach the learners through this. For example is the hand washing routine. So just teach them to turn on the water, put hands in water, and then apply soap, and then rub hands, and then turn off the water, then dry hands. So that steps or routine is that you should guide your students, or the teacher should guide their learners step by step. And then we missed the step 4 and 5, which is the step 4 and 5 is step 4 confirm task accuracy. And then step 5 decide how to teach the skill. For example, use pictures or videos or written instructions, where here teachers ensure that the task sequence is complete and choose the teaching method that best matches the learner's needs. Yes. And then the last step, which is the step 6, implement and monitor progress. So the teachers should always monitor the progress of the learners, where they should of course implement the instruct the students or the learners, and then after the instruction, after the assessment, then the teachers will collect the data, and then the teacher will monitor the progress of the learners. And then after she or he monitor the progress of that learners, then and collected the data, then she or he will revise the strategies if it is necessary. Where here in step 6 is that regular monitoring helps determine whether the learner is making progress and whether instructional changes are needed. Yes, because in this the teachers should really monitor and implement the progress of the learners. And then the last one is the role for collaboration. So successful learning, yes, successful learnings requires cooperation among, of course, the teachers, the parents, the therapist of the learners, and then other professionals. So yes, of course, working together ensures consistency in teaching and, of course, supports the learners across different environments. So the collaboration of this is really important in order for the um, learning of the learners to be effective and to help that learners. So that would be all for my discussion. I hope you gained something. Once again, I am SAMIA AMPUAN, and that's all.